Hello and welcome to the Shiny Bees podcast, a podcast for those who like their knitting, comedy and yarn in equally large measures. I'm your host, Jo Milmine, and this is episode 145, Cats to Knit and Crochet.
I feel a need to laugh again with you, if that's alright. I need a drink, I need a friend, I need your help, I want to smile again.
Hello and welcome into episode 145 of the Shiny Bees podcast. I am Jo, I'm your host, and I'm back with you again for another rip-roaring episode of the show. How are you? Hope you're good since I spoke to you last week. If you are a new listener today, welcome. Great to have you with me. I've had a lot of new listeners recently who've found the podcast through being at home or deciding to take up knitting as a hobby during everything that's been going on, and I've done a bit of Googling and found the podcast through that. So if that's you, hello, welcome. I hope you'll enjoy the show here, and please do give me a shout, send me an email or hit me up on socials. I'm at Shiny Bees on pretty much everything, and let me know that you're new and where you found me, and I can then give you a shout out and welcome you officially to the Shiny crew. If you're a returning listener, thanks. Good to be with you again. Lovely time of the week when I get to do a podcast and talk to you. Keep you occupied for a bit, give you some pattern ideas, give you some random stuff, and we can all hang out together, which is an absolute treat. I do. It's one of my favourite times of the week, is turning on the microphone and speaking with you. So speaking of shout-outs today, before we get started, and the chat today, before we do the shout-outs, Focus Jo, is on cat patterns. Now, it's not a secret that I don't like cats much at all, but last week I was inspired by a cat bed, a cat couch pattern that I saw on social media, and this week I decided I've never done a cat pattern pick. So it's a bit of a... Normally the pattern pick would be like really funny patterns, and today I'm in a funny pattern mood, but I'm also in that's actually really cool, clever mood, and that's really pretty mood. So I've sort of mashed them all together. So some of the patterns are hilarious, some of them are quite seriously nice, and others are just stuff that jumped out and I quite like. So that's going to be the main topic of today's episode. But before we get started, we're going to do some shout outs. Love a shout out. So shout outs today, reminded by my lovely friend Dee Bex, to the Swiss co-worker, who I feel like is going to become this like mystical figure in the podcast. Now, I've met the Swiss co-worker in person. Hello, Swiss co-worker. I'm not going to reveal his true identity because I think the Swiss co-worker makes him sound a little bit like the Milk Tray Man. Now, I'm not sure if you had Milk Tray in the US, but Milk Tray was like a 1980s box of chocolates that you got in paper shops, to give to people. And it was like the sophisticated box of chocolates to give to someone on their birthday or whatever. And the Milk Tray Man was like this dead suave James Bond type character who would be all in black and would jump out of helicopters or whatever to deliver this purple box of Milk Tray. Now, my favourite sweetie out of the Milk Tray was obviously Turkish Delight. Hit me up, let me know what your favourite Milk Tray chocolate was. You can still get Milk Tray, by the way. And I had a really dreadful boyfriend who bought me a box of Milk Tray for my 18th. That didn't last very long. Fired. But anyway, the Swiss co-worker in my head now, to all of you, as I've portrayed him, is like the Milk Tray Man, except he doesn't have Milk Tray. He's got a Toblerone because he's Swiss. But hello, Swiss co-worker. Doesn't knit, does listen to the podcast after I met him in person with Dee Bex. Hello, my love. Another shout out to Robin Arbats, who I've been chatting to on Insta this week. Also to Dr. Serena Chen, who's a new knitter and has found the podcast recently. And to Jennifer Thompson. Big love to you as well, my darling. So yeah. How are you doing, everyone? How is everyone getting on? I've had a bit of a hit and miss week this week, I have to say. There's been quite a few misses compared to other weeks where I've just been like, F it all, basically. F it all, I'm done with you all. Is it time for bed yet? Can I just drop my kids in my parents' back garden and leave them there for a week? The full up, I have had enough week. it's been a bit hard work. So I've been a little bit all over the show, to be honest, because, you know, when that hits, you just got to ride. You've got to feel the pain, the ennui. You've got to feel it. Then you've got to kind of move through it, feel the pain, move through, move on. And normally, but when you wake up the next day, it's much better. It becomes a little bit sinusoidal. You have to kind of watch because the highs and the lows get bigger and bigger, like the Corona coaster. It sort of gets bigger and bigger. So it's been a bit hit and miss. So if it's been a bit of a hit and miss week for you this week, I see you, my darlings. I see you and I'm feeling it with you. And just sending out lots of love, chocolate, gin, crumpets, whatever you need. I'm sending it out to you virtually via the sound waves of this podcast. And hopefully this week will be a better week. It's very, very sunny forecast for the UK, so I'm in a good mood, although it might not be that good in terms of knitting weather, but we shall see. Awesome. So we're going to start talking about cat patterns. So grab your rooibos or whatever you are drinking or working on, or mini magnum or whatever you fancy, and we shall crack on with the show. So today, pattern pick. Not had a pattern pick for a little while, have we? And massively inspired, like I said, by these comedy cat beds that I mentioned in last week's episode, to do a bit of a pattern pick. It's one of my favourite things. If you are new today, one of my favourite things to do is to go onto Ravelry and look for funny knitting or crochet patterns around a theme of some description. And there have been many. There have been very many really, really funny patterns that I've done in the past. And you can find all of I have collections of them on Ravelry. You can find them all on Ravelry in my sort of notebook in my library. They're all collected into collections. And there will be a collection as well for this where you can find all of the patterns together along with pictures in the show notes as well. And the show notes for this will be, as always, shinybees.com/145. So if you want to see all of the pictures together and get all of the links so you can go find these awesome patterns, that is another place that you can, and I would recommend you sort of go there first. It's a bit easier to navigate than Ravelry is. So I've got 10 patterns for you today. Cats to knit and crochet. We've got a mixture between crochet and knit and garments and just fun things. As usual, try and pick a variety of different things, some of which today are funny. Normally it's how much I cry basically when I'm laughing at along with the patterns, not at the patterns, that's the wrong word. Along with the patterns. Normally it's that. Today it's a bit of a mishmash, but the recurring theme through all of this is like, these are patterns that bring joy to me. They make me laugh. They're funny. They're cool. They're interesting. They're quirky, and it's very much a admiration of the pattern designers from my point of view. Even though I may be kind of laughing and joking about it, I definitely do. Like, I love people who make patterns and make patterns that they just want to make, not because they're really Insta or because they're really fashionable, just because they fancied making something a bit cool. I love it. So today, number 1 on that theme is Cat in a Corset by Anna Hrachevec. I apologise, Anna, if I'm not pronouncing your surname correctly there, but I've done my best. And this is a pattern for a little tiny knitted cat. And you can fit it between your kind of thumb and forefinger. It's probably an inch and a half, 2 inches long. Little miniature cat with a little corset on, because cats wear corsets, of course they do. It's $6 for the pattern. That's in an ebook with 4 patterns all together, all with little miniature cat patterns in the ebook collection. And that is called Cozy Squozy Cats. You can find it on Ravelry and download it from there, but it's just dead cute. You can use up some scraps. I think it's one of those like little fun patterns. If you're a bit kind of, your head's a bit west at the moment and you just don't want to start any big projects, but you fancy something small, or you just want something to focus on because it will be a little bit fiddly because it's little, then this could be a good fun thing for you. And if you're sending parcels, a lot of people are sending parcels at the moment, or writing cards or letters, this could be something cool to just like make and throw in there. It should be fun, and enjoy the Cat in a Corset. I mean, what else can you say about that? So that is Cat in a Corset by Anna Hrachevec. Number 2, Cat Love by Sweater Freak. I love this. Like, I feel like I'm going to rewatch Tiger King. I'm still massively into it. This is a knitted leopard print beanie, which of course just screams Carol Baskin. It's $6 US. It's a paid for pattern. It's knitted in worsted weight, and it's just a really nice leopard print beanie. It's done in stranded colour work, and obviously being a worsted weight, it's going to be nice and cosy, but it's also going to be fairly quick to knit as well. Now, what I like about this is there have been some other colour combinations that have been put into the project photos. So the main one is like a leopard coloured one. So it's sort of like a taupey goldy main body with the patterned circles that you get on a leopard in black. But I was sat there thinking, actually, you could do the main colour in like a grey and do the leopard print in neon of some description, or you could do like a variegated neon or even a self-striped neon. It doesn't have to be neon, like you could do rainbow, you could do whatever you wanted, but I think it would look really cool with some colour change in there as well. So that is Cat Love by Sweater Freak, and it is available on Ravelry. The next one is when we go into the slight random, and that is the Cat Hair Finger Puppet by Kaori Tsutaya and Amy Hirschman. And this is out of a book called, I'm sorry, I'm like laughing at my joke before I even get there, called Crafting with Cat Hair, Cute Handicrafts to Make with Your Cat. Now, I'm not entirely sure if that means you and your cat sit down together and craft these, or whether you actually cut your cat up and use them. Joking, nobody said cut the cat up. But it turns out, the cat doesn't need to like pour this to make it work. You do need some actual cat hair, which you can get off a cat hair brush. Apparently people brush cats, and you can get the cat hair from there. And it's a little miniature finger puppet that you make out of felted cat hair. Yeah, it's a thing. Now, I know people do spin, like, I've got Shelties, I've got 2 Sheltie dogs, and I know there are people who spin dog hair, and Sheltie hair is quite popular for that because it's got it's got really fluffy undercoat, but quite a long outer coat, and it's quite silky, and the undercoat is really crimped, and it spins into quite nice wool. And wool, it's not wool, is it? Yarn, it's dog hair, so it's not wool. It's definitely not wool. Forgive me, don't send in the wool police. It's definitely yarn. Anyway, there is, coming back from the dog hair to the cat hair, there is an entire book of projects, handicrafts that you can make with cat hair, if that's your thing. $9.71 for the book on Amazon will get you all of the details and patterns that you need to do that, which is, it's a bit different, isn't it? It's kind of cool. So that is Cat Hair Finger Puppet from the Crafting with Cat Hair, Cute Handicrafts to Make with Your Cat by Kaori Tsutaya, I can't even say it, and Amy Hirschman. I'm sure I've picked all the pattern names, like designer names on purpose today, just so I can make a fool of myself trying to pronounce them. Number 4 is the Cat in the Night Mittens by Lumi Karmitsa, which is a pattern for some fingering weight mittens. It's from a collection called Wild Mittens Unruly Socks number 2, 22 more outrageously unique knitting patterns. Okay, it's available on Amazon. It's a paid for book. It's $22.95. Now, these mittens are flipping amazing. Like, they're a colourwork mitten that's done in black and white, and this little cat's got green eyes that really stand out, but it's all over like really fancy patterned mitten. And they look amazing, like they're really, really good. Definitely the kind of thing that you would put on and someone would be like, oh my word, where'd you get your mittens from? They look so cool. And would be obviously quite interesting to knit as well. Not going to be something you're going to throw up in 30 seconds, clearly, but something a little bit different. And like a lot of the patterns these days can look really the same, and you can like knit a jumper and it can be like, for the amount of effort you put in, like not that amazing. You think, I spent hours on this and it's just not that different or amazing. I'm a bit about it. These would not be that project. And also in the book, you're not just getting one pattern for this, you're getting another 21 patterns for all other different wild mittens and unruly socks. And there is a cat sock pattern that's very similar to this, along with some other animals. So you don't just have to be a cat person. So yeah, Cat in the Night Mittens by Lumi Karmitsa. The next one is, in fact, no, we'll do number 5, and then I need to come to a really important point that I discovered when I was researching this. So we'll do number 5, then we'll come back to that. So number 5 is The Slouchy Cat Hat by Marna Gilligan. Now, Marna is the lady behind the Sinister Cats, and they've been super popular for the last couple of years. And it's these little outlines of these cats with like straight, they've not got cat eyes, they've got straight eyes. It makes them look a little bit sinister. And that she's been all about that for the last couple of years. This is a hat pattern for that. So it's a slouchy beanie, and it's just nice. It's really cool, bit different, and, a nice way of getting onto the kind of slouchy sinister cat trend without, is it a trend? I don't know. But if you fancy it, fancy trying it before you commit to like the Catdigan, which was like an entire cardigan with sinister cats on, then you could practice on this first and see if you really want to commit. It's quite a big project. But there's an entire book called Cat Knits, and it's got all of her patterns in to do with the Sinister Cat. It is published by Search Press. It's $16.99, and that's pounds, and you can buy it through Search Press. So yeah, pretty cool. Right, stop. Right, everyone stop. Put your knitting down. Stop, I need your attention. Crocheters, I need your attention. Cat people, I require an explanation. Right? What is the fascination with cat's bums? What is that about? Right? Because I must have seen 50 patterns for cat butt coasters. Americans, I'm looking at you because we call it a bum over here. And what is that about? Right, with the little pink bum hole and then the cat's arse around it. What is what? Why? Why do I want a coaster with that on it? And why are you obsessed with cat bums? Because people are obsessed with cat bums, like it is a thing. Like, I purposefully got dogs where you can't see the bums and you can't see the testicle because I don't want to see all of that junk like up in my face. Like, that needs to be hidden away from me. Like, I don't want that in my life, and I don't want cat butt coasters in my life. So please, if someone understands and can explain to me what the fascination with cat ass is, can you please tell me? Because I just think it's a bit weird. Anyway, moving swiftly on from that, and my clear trauma at cat arse, is the Cat Lover Blanket. Now, this is flipping epic, right? It's by Marken of the Hat and Eye, and it is a pattern. It is paid for. It's $5.99, and it's a crochet pattern for like a modular cat blanket with all these little cats on it, but they're all circles. So all of the cats are really colourful circles. The cat body is a colourful circle. And then they've all got kind of googly crocheted eyes that are all kind of staring around looking at each other, which just makes them look really funny. And the pattern, the way the colour has been used on the project that has been photographed for the pattern, I think it looks epic. It looks really good. It'd be a really nice project to give to someone, like if they've had a baby or whatever, or to have a pram blanket, or even just like a cool lap blanket. I can't wait till I'm old enough to have a lap blanket, and when I am, I'm going to have one of these. Even though I don't really like cats, I might change them into dogs. Could just change them into dogs, couldn't I, little fat doggies? Anyway, this is the Cat Lover Blanket by Marken of the Hat and Eye. It looks awesome. Really, really, really happy with that, but not as happy as I am with the next one. Now, you know, okay, I love a cat in a hat. You know that. Anyone who puts cats in clothes and takes pictures of them looking a little bit peed off is my hero. I love it. I just love cats looking angry in pictures. It's really funny. This one is called Dinosaur by Sarah Thomas. Okay, it is from a book that was recommended to me by Amy over in Ireland called Cats in Hats, 30 Knit and Crochet Patterns for Your Kitty. It is amazing. It's by Running Press, they're the publisher, and it's $10.19 on Amazon. Obviously, it will be available in other places. I'm just saying Amazon here because this is where you're going to get linked out to from Ravelry. And it's this little cat, and he's got a little kind of skull cap on that goes over his ears with a little kind of dinosaur Mohican. He's almost got like a little Stegosaurus little Mohican thing in the middle of his head, and he's posing with 2 little plastic dinosaurs. Now that is pretty cool, right? That's pretty funny. Not as funny as the banana hat by the same designer, which literally dying. I've got a very childish sense of humour. Go and have a look at it. Hilarious. But clear your diary, ladies. Clear your diary, gentlemen. Clear your diary, one and all, because there is an FO collection for this book. 65 pages. 65 pages of cats looking peed off in hats that their owners have knitted for them. Amazing. So that is Dinosaur by Sarah Thomas, and it's from Cats in Hats, 30 knit and crochet patterns for your kitty, who's totally, I mean, if you're going to do that to your cat, they are definitely going to go and pee on your pillow or puke in your shoes or whatever. They're going to punish you. You probably deserve it, but in the meantime, people like me can laugh at it. Next one is Cats Love Sweaters by Christine Landry. It's a cat in a jumper. I love dogs in jumpers. Okay, and I've still never gotten to the bottom of why it's only ever small dogs, but I love a dog in jumpers. This is a cat in jumpers. And Christine says, cats love sweaters almost as much as they love sarcasm. And judging by the pictures of the cats on this pattern, Christine, you're wrong. They do not love the sweaters. They do not love the sweaters at all. But it is a free pattern. The cats are raging. I'm loving it. Cats Love Sweaters by Christine Landry. Number 9, getting into the slightly random cat lady territory, we have the Cat Window Valance by Christine Nolt. Now, if you're going to Google this, valance is spelled in this pattern Valence, and I think it's normally ANCE, so just watch for that. It is a free crochet pattern for a window valance. Now, I haven't seen one of these maybe ever, but I do remember my mum having net curtains in the 80s, 90s. They were a bit of a thing. And this reminds me of a net curtain. So it is a big kind of piece of fabric that you crochet and you put it up at your window, and it shows you the outline of 2 little cats prancing along, playing together, on a mission, going somewhere. You can put it up at your window and people can see the pattern. Not sure whether it is big enough to block anyone looking in, because that was the kind of whole point of nets back in the day, I guess. But they look kind of cool if you want to channel that crazy cat lady vibe or crazy cat gentleman vibe or whatever vibe, crazy cat whatever vibe. Then yeah, crack on. Cat window valance free pattern. Job's a good one. And finally, the last one for you today. This lady is flipping amazing. Like, I think I might have to go see if I can interview her, because I never seen any of these before. But she's prolific. She's got many, many, many designs, and she's in Scotland. So I'm going to have to go see if I can find her. But this one is 095 Cat Sphinx Find Us with Wireframe Amigurumi. Not small title there. By Little Owl's Hut. It is a paid pattern. It's $9.97, which you might think is, on the higher end for a pattern for an amigurumi. But dude, you need to see this pattern. It's like a work of art. It's for crochet. It's done in sport weight. And it's this, it doesn't even look like it's crocheted. It's like a little statue that's been made of a Sphinx cat. So the thin ones with the really kind of big sort of gremlin ears and the really big eyes. It's one of those. And it's obviously poseable, but she's put these big, massive, like, almost they look a bit like, do you remember those, again, like early noughties, late 90s? You've got those little glass beads that they would sometimes put into the window of like a jewellery shop to like add a little bit of glass bead colour. It looks almost like those that she's used for the eyes and then painted on the little kind of eyeball part, like iris part. But honestly, like, go take a look at her stuff, because like I said, it is prolific. She's done patterns for all sorts of stuff. Kate, her name is. And it is like proper, like artistic crochet stuff. I can't even begin to explain. Like, it is really creative. And I was like, oh, wow, look at that. Oh, look at that. And there's loads of them to look through, so I can't even pick one out, but I would say definitely, I'll put a link in the show notes, but definitely go check out Little Owl's Hut on Ravelry and have a look through her back catalogue. In terms of like impressive work, she's definitely up there. So those are my 10 patterns that I've picked for you on the theme of kind of cats to knit and crochet. You can find them all, and the links out directly to all of them and pictures for all of them in the show notes. It'll be at shinybees.com/145. And as always, I'll have a collection as well in Ravelry that you can go click on and find them all there. Not all of the patterns are available via Ravelry, so just a warning, some of them are in books that you would need to potentially go get from elsewhere. So yeah, let me know what you think of that one. If you've got any really good patterns for cat stuff that I've missed because they were like 170 pages and no one's got time for that, like all of those patterns, then let me know. We could do a follow-up if we get enough of them. And if you've knitted any cat-themed stuff as well, definitely let me know. We could do a little listeners gallery or something. It'd be quite cool. So yeah, that's all we've got time for this week. I hope you've enjoyed the show and had a little bit of fun and a bit of a laugh with me. I'll be back again next week. But until then, take care. Have a great week. Happy crafting. And I will speak to you all again soon. Cheers. You've been listening to the Shiny Bees podcast. Show notes for this episode can be found at shinybees.com/145. If you have enjoyed today's show, I would love it if you could leave a review on iTunes or your podcatcher of choice to help me and other people find the show. And remember, if you want to be first up to listen to the show, then please do subscribe on your podcatcher of choice and it will be sent to you as soon as it's available.
I need your help. I want to smile.